capacity crowd. Oh my goodness. Welcome to this week's edition of Life's a Pitch. If you're watching on YouTube or listening on podcast, you are most welcome. I'm Mark Murphy. I'll introduce you to the rest of the team in a moment or two, but a big thank you to our sponsors that make the show happen every week. DPS Tech, our main sponsor. Also a massive thank you to All About Hearing, marketing company Ginger Pickle, Forward Floors, Come Hither Design, the Hudson Group, Sound 4 Pro Audio, Venue 16, Fred Olsen Logistics, John Keeble Cars in Bramford, the Dove in Ipswich, Ashford Wright, and the sofa is sponsored as well by DPS Tech. And what a sofa it is. Let me introduce you to the team. Terry Butcher. It's Russell Osman. And from twtd.co.uk, it's Phil Ham. On technicals, Richard and John. And you are our capacity crowd. You are our capacity crowd. We'll get there in the end. It's great to see you all. Welcome to the show. We need a special guest this week. We've only had a returning guest once before, haven't we? And that was Pat Gobbold, wasn't it?
Yep, that was.
Yep. So it's only someone very special that gets asked back twice.
Yes.
It's either that or couldn't find anybody else.
That's right.
It's only George Burley! Fantastic. Well done. Nice to hear that, George, and to see the flags from 2000, look, that we've got in the crowd tonight. First time we've had flags.
Yeah, great memories, great flags, blue and white. Doesn't get any better, and it was a special time for everybody, I think, in Ipswich, and so many good memories. Still think about it. Everybody still speaks about it, and I think anybody that was around at that time and that season especially will never forget that trip to Wembley.
Well, who was there? Yeah, a very special day out for our family as well. We took the boys, we bought them a couple of dodgy hats at Ipswich railway station, and then we didn't realise, but people were taking photographs down the front when we were in the crowd, and the boys ended up in the national newspapers with their hats on, and we got all the cuttings at home, decorated the house and everything. It was just a magical time, wasn't it?
It was, it was we'll talk about it, whatever, but it was a big build-up, and it's like anything that didn't happen overnight. There was a lot of work and joy and, times where it was very difficult, going through some bad times and good times, but it was all worthwhile. And I think, Ipswich is a special club as far as being, through the youth policy, through the youth team, under 21s or reserves and into the first team and playing for your own club. And that was the situation with, Terry and Russell here. We came through it all. We're with Ipswich people, we're brought up with Ipswich, and we've had so many happy times.
Yeah,
I was there, Mark. I was there at Wembley that day.
Enjoy it?
Yeah, I had a great day. Absolutely magnificent.
It must have brought back memories of, previous exploits for you that day.
Yeah, but it was probably only bettered by the 78 Cup final. So my memory of Wembley, up and down, we had the Charter Shield game, obviously, against Forest.
This is one we don't mention, isn't it?
We're moving on from that very, very
not
quickly.
Want us to talk about that one.
So going back and watching George's side get promotion on that day was really, really good. Good fun.
And of course, you're here because there are a lot of parallels, and we'll come to this in a moment or two, but a lot of parallels between what's happening to town now and the time in the late 90s when you were trying to get us up and eventually did get us up. So we'll talk about that a little bit later on. But we've got to talk about the season so far. What a topsy-turvy game it was this week. As the stadium announcer, 11 substitutions, 7 goals. No wonder I'm struggling with the throat tonight. What a match. Let's look at the season so far, sponsored by the Dove in Ipswich. And Phil, we'll come to you. What did you make of it?
Well, obviously we had Swansea first, didn't we, on Saturday, which was a hard-fought game, I think, in atrocious conditions. We obviously got the goal through Nathan Broadhead, which really was our first chance. We started quite slowly again, which he took terrifically. Amari Hutchinson again doing very well to set that chance up for him. Conceded a goal, and then once we got 2-1 in front, which was one of our kind of was the now traditional goal cut back from the left by Leif Davis, Burgess having sent him away, and Connor Chaplin put it into finishing in with the kind of in the clinical manner of Marcus Stewart or David Johnson in George's era. It was a grind the second half. We were backs against the walls to see it out, but we saw it out. Vital 3 points, and then I think we then looked to Rotherham as a much easier game, didn't we? I think we
were all expecting a much easier game, weren't we?
Them sitting bottom of the table, and of course we again got off to a poor start and conceded. No one's conceded more goals in the division in the first 15 minutes than Town. I think it's 13 now, and Rotherham then subsequently did the same thing.
15 minutes means nothing.
No, well, not for this team, because they do tend to turn games round, but it does show that we do tend to start games quite slowly. And again, there were defensive errors, and Kieran McKenna in his post-match press conference said that he thought we didn't really get going at the back. Having made that mistake, we were never really quite comfortable. But we then went 3-1 up. I think they spotted the disparity in pace between Wes Burns and Lee Peltier, the left back for 37-year-old.
Well, I mentioned for Wes because he was dropped at the weekend, wasn't he? Comes back, scores a brace, man of the match.
Yeah, and an assist, and had two other chances.
I mean,
It was rested, I would say.
Rested, dropped, whatever you want as terminology, but
no, it wasn't dropped.
No.
Squad.
There's a big difference, Mark.
Big squad.
Is that the difference? Is it?
Yeah.
I think he's rested. It wasn't
dropped to the bench.
Different these days.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
I think
in
that was
my day, you wanted to play your best team every week. These days they want to keep them, rest them. Players feel tired, seemingly. They want to keep it fresh. That didn't happen under Sir Bobby or myself.
In
So
our day-
times have changed.
He didn't have the squads.
If you were in the starting 11 the week before and you weren't in the following week, you'd been dropped.
Yeah, but it is
Unless you
different these days, as
Yeah,
George
it is,
says.
but-
And
Anyway, what was going on? So what a great game he had, scoring a couple of goals.
He did terrifically well. Great header and great cross for Kiefer Moore's goal, which his first goal at Portman Road 7 years after joining the club initially, and then a Predators finish for the third one. Anyway, but then the game was so stop-start, wasn't it? We were talking about this beforehand, and there was that long injury break where their player Rathbone collided with the hoarding at the side, and I think that the game lost its impetus, and we lost our impetus, and I don't think we really regained it, did we? And then second half, I think they perhaps saw, once they got the goal to bring it back to 3-2, I think they thought, well, here we go, we've got a bit of a chance here, and we really struggled to get out of our half, didn't we? Which is very unlike us, really, in that circumstance. And then the penalty, which
Was it a pen?
I don't think there's any way it was a penalty. I think Leif Davis told us afterwards that Caden Jackson had told him that Peter Chioso had stood on Jackson's foot and he'd fallen over as a result of that, rather than it actually being a foul.
But he would say that, wouldn't he? Yeah, if he give him the penalty away.
Well, but that was, he's an honest lad,
He
isn't
told him and he told him.
I know.
The referee gave a
I know,
penalty.
referee gave a penalty. But anyway,
Phil, so when it gets to late goals like that, I know what journalists are like because they've got the
it's
copy
chaos.
down.
Yeah.
As soon as a goal goes in, like the last minute, then they've got to scrub all that.
Exactly,
right away
yeah.
again.
Intros were written.
So you got the equaliser, then you had to scrub it, and then you got the winner, and you had to scrub what you just written.
I know. Very difficult for those writing for the report on the whistle. Particularly, we never know the whistle's going to come, do you? These days, but again, this team has shown before that adversity happens, and they're capable of reacting to it, and to get a goal within a minute. And I thought Amari Hutchinson again showed such composure to score that goal in the manner that he did, and also Al Hamidi and Jackson to create the chance. I mean, it's funny. There was very little time left, but it went to 3-3. But you still thought we could probably win it. Do you know what I mean? The way that this team has been over the last couple of years.
We had Matt Holland on last week, and it was a very, very good programme. And he talked about the resilience of his team, your team, and about how you went behind, but you generally always managed to come back and win the game.
Yeah, I think with any good team or any team that wants to be successful, there are going to be, times where they haven't played well. They've been against the cosh. They can't get the passing going. There's a lot of, the confidence seems to drain off them, but they still managed to win the game, and that was the fact. If we look at the end of the season, that game 3 points to Ipswich.
Yeah.
And that's what happens, because you can't play your best every game. See, as we
Just to
said,
prove a
there's been a
point,
few times that it's happened already this season.
Just to prove a point, with 13 games left in your season, You then lost to Portsmouth, drew with Blackburn, lost to Wolves, lost to Norwich. You're on the ball. You've then got 9 games left, and it looks like you're struggling to get a result. And you go win, draw, win, loss, win, bang.
Yeah.
Job done.
I mean, it's like any season, any match. The first 15 minutes don't really win you or lose you the game. If you lose a couple of games or play some bad games, it's what you count over the length of the season. And so far, we're in third position. So nobody can deny us we don't deserve to be there. If we can get to second or first, we deserve it, If we don't, we'll win the playoffs. So it's what happens at the end of the game, and you're not always going to play your best. At the end of the season, look at where you are, and that's where you deserve to be.
Mm-hmm. And the kind of starting slowly thing is remarkable, really, that we're still where we are when we have gone behind so many times in games, really, isn't it? It's
but sometimes that gives you a shot in the arm, really. You think, oh, hang on, we're behind now, and so you've got to push on more, and that's character. You don't go in the little, if you lose a goal, what does that tell you? You've got to go and score a goal. So that can add to them. Sometimes you might go 2 up, you think, oh, well, we'll take the foot off the pedal, and then that can be dangerous. So it's not always a bad thing. You don't want to concede early goals. So sometimes it'll give you a lift and you'll push on. Then it could have been 6-1 at half time, to be fair. Burns could have scored 4 goals. But at the end of the day, it was the 3 points.
What also showed to me at the end of that game was just how the opposition was spent. They'd given everything. Same with West Brom. Their players were down on the ground. Rotherham's players were down on the ground. I know you've got the euphoria of winning, but the fitness levels of our side seem to be exemplary at the moment, don't they?
Well, that comes in hand with a good team. You can't win or do well with a team that's not 100% fit. So give credit to the coaching staff, to the fitness people, because they're doing that every day of the week, looking after players, trying to get them fit. And then there's a lot of things for fitness. Are they eating the right thing? Are they training too much, too little? Are they doing their strength work there? Are they mentally strong as well? So you're talking about a player who's 100% fit to go all season. So they've got to be. Everything's got to be right. And all credit to the whole staff at Ipswich. They're getting the players out in that field 100% fit as you can, So that's why we're right up there at the moment.
I thought it was very bold of Rotherham to do what they did and press really high. I thought they'd just sit back. That's probably what I'd have done. But Ipswich pressed really well too, and they're very organised in their pressing, and that forced Rotherham then to kick long, and then obviously we won the ball back and off we went again. So it was not much cagey, but it was just 2 teams being really, really positive. And okay, the goals came in the first half, not so many in the second half until late. But the way that Town press, it gives you hope then for the rest of the season against probably better teams than Rotherham. But if teams want to play that way, then that's fine.
It's exciting players coming off the bench as well, isn't it? You look at the bench the other night and you just think, wow, so much there, isn't there?
There's good decisions, isn't it, from the manager bringing them on. And George, there must have been some time in the season when you got your promotion. Can you put your finger on one decision that you made that either gave you a little bit of a boost, or you're really pleased that you just made that decision?
Well, I think there's only one. Martin Rooser at Wembley.
Well, there you go.
But then
Sticks in my memory.
But then you put 2 subs on, didn't you? And Bam Bam scored as well. So it was great tactical awareness from the manager.
I mean, the thing is, as a manager, you've got you've got to be aware of what's happening on the field. I mean, you've got second sight. Bobby Robson used to say to me, whatever, the most important thing you've got as a player or the manager is your eyes. Yeah. And you've got to have the eyes to see if somebody's struggling, because you have all. I mean, when I was at Southampton, we brought into these belts and fitness and all that, and I can tell somebody that's fit, what the way he's training or the way he's playing on the pitch. So that your eyes are so important, George, and if things are not working, I mean, in that season we used to be able to play with a back 4 or a back 3, with Tony Mowbray. So if a team played with one striker, I used to go to a back four. When they played with two strikers, I could play with a back three. So, and like when Bobby Robson's team, we used to have Eric Gates playing behind the striker. You think, well, we had that. Or when we played in the cup final, Bobby Ferguson says, we'll play David Geddes as an outside right to stop letting him getting forward. So these tactical things are in your blood. You've done it as a player. You've been brought up with one of the best managers ever. And I think that does help you. And Kieran, no doubt, as Russell said, is very astute. You can see sometimes slightly, you say Hutchison, I think that they played sometimes when Burns played, Burns goes into the middle and Hutchison goes wide, and vice versa. So, there's a lot of tactical little changes that Kieran introduces into the team, and that's another big reason why we're doing so well.
But in your day, George, how many subs could you use in that game?
I think as a player it was only one. As a manager, I think it was 3.
I reckon it was 3 by the time.
So
yes, because I think Fabian came on at the end of that as well, didn't he?
I played at Shrewsbury, jumped up for a ball, leg underneath me, went down. And I've got to say, I've never had anybody get treated for myself on the field, but I never got back up. And my wife was up there and she said, there's something wrong. So I get up there. So I played right wing, Bobby Robson, and Walkie kept passing me the ball. I've got a torn cruciate ligament, major ligament and cartilage. And Walkies want me to run up and down in that red wing, kept passing me the ball. So I had to stay on the field and finish the game. And then everything happened as far as operations concerned. So it's as important, to look at. And if you've got subs like they do now, I remember getting taken off at we were at home at Man United and we won 6-0. And 5 minutes to go, I see a number 2 coming up. Bobby's taking me off. And I had the biggest steam on all my life because I didn't want to leave that field. These days, all right, I'm quite happy to come out. Oh, we'll make a sub that. It was different. Russell said those days, you were on that field, I wanted to stay on, the field. So it's a different mentality now.
I think the whole Man United team wanted to come off that game, didn't they?
But the other point, George, is when you've only got a couple of substitutions to be able to make 3 subs, say, you've still got to have the courage as a manager to make them. Because not all substitutes work for you. I've done it before and suddenly you've conceded a goal and everybody points the finger at you. Should have made the substitution. But, you have to believe in your convictions, don't you?
Was anybody here at Helsingborg?
I was there, yeah.
I think the game started and we had Fabian Wilness right back and this winger who was good, and I could see we've got a problem here, and I think I subbed Fabian after about 15 minutes. And I just felt I had to do it. It was. I didn't feel good about it, and I'm sure Fabian didn't feel any good about it.
Well, actually, George, here he is.
To be fair, Fabian was a brilliant player for us. He was top notch, great lad, whatever. But in that circumstances, I thought, no, I've got to make a change. And sometimes, as Russell said, you've got to be brave, and you're the manager, and that's what you've got to do.
Did Fabian knock on your door the next day, or did he?
I think he punched it down, actually.
I remember Jimmy Case getting substituted after 10 minutes for Southampton one day, and that got nothing to do with the way he was playing. He'd had a late Friday night, I think.
Allegedly. A lot of parallels, George, between what you achieved, and we're eternally grateful for that, late 90s into 2000. A lot of parallels being talked about. The team that we have now, you had a great team. At the time, they weren't superstars. They went on to become a lot of them superstars, didn't they? And it's very similar now. You can see a lot of our players potentially going on to become, big stars, hopefully for us in the Premier League. But it is that tight unit. How important is that? That, you saw Chaplin running off the bench, didn't you? At the final whistle when Amari scored. They're all in it together, aren't they?
It's got to be. It's a team. You've had Matt Holland on, whatever. And Matt will tell you that it doesn't happen overnight, and it doesn't happen maybe in one season. We had a situation where we had 3 playoffs. I think we finished, my first full season finished 7th. We drew at home against Millwall, and if we'd have won that game, we'd been in the playoffs. And then the next season, I think we finished 5th, and then we had 2 thirds in the season, and then the last one we were 3rd, so it was close. And one of the problems was, like, we had to sell a player every season, and like Mauricio Tarrico and Alec Massey and Ian Marshall and a few other players. We had to do it. That was the stats. The money was bringing in. We needed to, balance the books. So it was a build. Like Marcus Stewart came from us because we sold Kieran Dyer. But we had to build a squad, build a team that was going to win games, and we did that consistently. We got to the playoffs, 3 times and missed out. But I think with the fans and the board, everybody believed that we could do it, and thankfully did the 4th time. So it's not something that just happens. It's Monday morning, you're out there and you're doing everything right. You're training right. The habits, the things you do in training have got to be spot on. Like some of the passing that I was brought up, like Terry and Russell, passing the ball. And you did it so precisely. You come out on a Saturday and you didn't miss people. You passed it and you did it sharp. You didn't dwell too long. You didn't want to play back all the time. You went there and passed it, and it was in your blood. And that's something that rolled on to me when I was manager. And actually, Marcus was down the other week. They said, by the way, Gaffer, I still do all your passing drills, from there. So
you didn't teach a player to roll his foot over the ball like Wolfie does and all that sort of thing as well.
I said, pass it quick, sharp, quick, and I would do my head in if he did that. Sorry,
I think
but
that'd be
it's a case of doing it quick and sharp, and that was the way I was brought up, and that's the way I tried to do as a manager. And I think the players, David John says, the Gaffer is always routine and do the same things. Any other sport, if I'm Andy Murray, I'm not so good now, he's practicing it. If Rory McIlroy, they're doing it, habits, repetition. So when you go out on a Saturday, it's easy.
Would you have loved the pitch that we got now in your day?
Yeah, it's so fast and bright and whatever, but you've got to play in any sort of pitch, which we did. So you can't make excuses. But as a manager, I always said you can't make excuses, because it's there, so you've got to do it. Is your players tired? No, that's a mental thing. Yeah. Russell played, 60 odd games when we
66, yeah. Every minute, every
66 games
match.
on difficult pitches. Didn't make an excuse the next game. I had a bad game because I was tired.
Had a few of them.
He went and did it.
Just didn't make the excuse.
No, you
He just went and played, didn't he?
But George, every year, 96, 97, you got 74 points. 97, 98, 83, 88, and 98, 99, 86. And 87 in the promotion year, so you're always getting better and better. Did you in those times, you get to playoffs and you lose. You get to playoffs and you lose. There's a case there for some people to be dispirited and be, oh well, here we go again. But you obviously then with the promotion year, did you feel it was going to be your year when you were getting there?
It did. I love playing football. I love training. I love to be a manager. Just been out in the training field, it was just second nature to us. You win games, great. Lose games. As a manager, I've got to be the first one to say, right, we did this, we did that, but we're going to get it right for the next game. When you go out in that press, when you go and talk to the press, you've got to be sort of enthusiastic and positive, because all the players are looking at you, all the public are there. So as a manager, no. I'm going there and I'll be saying at least 2 or 3 positive things. All right, we had a lot of possession, or we didn't do this well, but we did this right. So as a person and as a manager, I had to be really upbeat, even though we lost that. Right, there's always next season. There's always tomorrow.
What's going on, can you?
Always tomorrow. So that was the thing. So no. Because if you're going to be a manager, you've got to be upbeat all the time. Because sometimes when a manager comes in, he's whinging and he says, oh, well, we've got injuries, or the pitch was rubbish, or the referee... They're excuses. You've got to be positive.
Who motivated you, though, George?
What now? What's sitting here?
All the way to when you got promotion. Because at times when you go up and down a little bit, or you miss out on promotion, it's all right you saying there and saying you're the one that's got to be the first person forward, motivating all the players and the rest of your staff. Who motivates you? Who motivates the motivator?
The wife.
Yeah.
She'll
Well,
tell me
she'll
off.
have her part to play. in
Yes,
it.
big part.
Yeah.
Big part. I mean, I know.
David Shanks, did he?
I mean, everybody's different. I mean, some managers say, by the way, if we get beat, I'm going home and I don't want to see anybody and I don't want to talk to anybody. For me, no. For me, the family is the most important, right? If I go home there and we get beat, we get beat. I'm not going to take it home. But I know as a player, as a person, when I was training at Portman Road, I wanted to be the best trainer. I wanted to be the fittest person there. I wanted to do things right. And it's the same as, Bobby Robson. I mean, he was there, he was fanatical. What makes a good manager or a good coach? That sort of enthusiasm. So I've always loved football. So that's what made me enthusiastic.
I always had a chap that motivated me. His name was Bud Weiser. I'll tell you what, he was bloody good. I'll tell you, really good.
But obviously you had Dale Roberts working alongside you as well, didn't you?
Well, Dale was my best friend, best mate. He went to Scotland as a coach with me. So that was a massive thing that happened in life. We still see his wife and his kids, whatever. What can you do? It was, I remember him walking in saying, my arm's not right, and then as time went on, discovered what the problem was. So, no, that was a big loss. But, life's got to go on, and you've got to, try your best, help his wife, help his family, but and it is a test of character. Life's a test of character. We've had it great. I've done something all my life, without working. It's not a bad job, is it? It's been a great job. I got a great family. I've loved living in Ipswich for the last 10 years. I go down to the games. I love to watch football. So it is a great life. So I don't feel sorry, whatever. If you get beat, you get beat. If we don't make the Premiership this year, well, we'll do it next year. But, you're going to do everything possible to do it this year. And we've still got a very, very good chance.
We have indeed. I mean, there's huge expectation from a certain section of fans, perhaps some newer fans who have come to town in recent years. Some of us have been following for a very long time, are just grateful to be where we are, I think. Obviously, we want to go up as well. But there's a lot of expectation on Kieran and those players now. The success that we've seen over the last 18 months, 2 years is incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, football's a test of character. I can remember loads of times where people have been shouting at me, we're not going to get promoted this year, you've lost a game, whatever. You could see on Tuesday the players get nervous. And that's where your character comes in. And I'm sure Kieran's saying, by the way, lads, we've got the 3 points, we know we didn't play well, but come on, let's get that confidence about yourself, let's get on the ball, let's play to our strengths, play with your partners. You've got partnerships all over the pitch. Let's supply the front runners, and we'll get some good players now. We've got squads there. We've got a striker who's 6'4", so you can cross it. You can get Chapman into feet. So you've got all the things going for you. But that's character. So we're looking for the character of the players, and they've shown up this year. If we've had a couple of bad games, we're there. So I believe that they will come through it. And then as a manager, and Kieran, he'll be showing it, hey, we know we didn't do well. We know we kept giving the ball away. Silly. Come on, we're better than that. And I want to see it this morning out in the training ground. Make sure your passing's right. Make sure you get on the ball. Make sure in front of goals you hit the target. So that is all ongoing all the time. And I'm sure Kieran will be right up to them, say, hey, that wasn't good enough Tuesday. We've got the 3 points, but we've got to do better, like you've been doing all the previous games this season.
And he's at pains not to talk about other teams around him, not to talk about, the push for the Premier League. It's just one game at a time. I remember you saying that in press conferences when I would interview you back in the day. It's just one game at a time. Is it really? It must be more in the back of your mind, how close you're getting, rather than just taking one game at a time.
Character.
Okay.
You can't be too high, you can't be too low. You've got to be there. Every game's there for 3 points. How are you going to win it? These days, again, it's so pacifically with all the media work, all this side and all the technical stuff of it, which is a little bit different. I would say the 70s, Liverpool were the best team. I think we were second best, but over the 70s, 72, 82. They every day played 5 sides. That's all they did. You know, they went earlier play 5-a-side. That doesn't happen anymore. But they used their brain and went and passed with the ball. You know, went on, and I always believe in partnerships. You know, I had partnerships. You know, you've got Russell and Terry, and I had it with Franz Tyson, and you had Alan Brazil. You know, with Arnold Muren. We need those partnerships. You have partnerships, so you've got to get your mate together and get little sort of triangles and little get the passing going together. So it's all basic stuff, but it needs to be done, and we're doing it very well. Better than most. So that character and everything, and it's not one little thing, everything's got to be right. Everything's got to be right to make a good team, good teamwork, good passing, you'll win games. And we've been doing that very well.
But it is one game at a time, because the most important thing is the next match. And as soon as the other match is finished, then you're preparing for the next match. It's so difficult to look forward, too far forward. You can't look far forward than the next game coming up, because you'll lose yourself and you lose the players. So it's all about the next game, and that's why the recovery is important at this stage of the season. You don't do a lot of work and heavy work in between games, and that's why you have a good squad. I mean, you had a good squad in 2000 as well. It's not so much you can change.
Yeah, but we're all looking
if you
at the
get
running.
injuries, you
we're
get people
looking at
on.
the running, aren't we? We're all looking at who Leeds have got to play.
We
who
are,
Southampton
but
have got to play.
Kieran,
Well,
I
that
don't
doesn't
think
happen
Kieran
in the
is-
club then.
No.
Well, last game was our toughest. And who was that against?
Fair point.
Bottom of the league.
Yeah.
So you can't.
Okay.
The league's so competitive. You can't take anything for granted.
Yeah, and also I think it just makes it too much of a sort of psychological factor, isn't there? I think if you're kind of looking at it in terms of, we've got 13 games to win promotion, you've just got to look at the next match and that as an individual individual task on its own.
Yeah, you look at the games. I mean, who would have expected Southampton to lose to Hull?
No,
You know, you sort of think, well, they lost the other week as well. So, you know, you just don't know what's. As long as you're doing your job, as long as your team is playing the way that and you're happy with the team, and as long as you can just keep pushing them and motivating them and everything else, then that's all you have to worry about.
And
That's
you
all
can't
can worry about.
And you can't second guess what the other teams are going to do, can you? You can't think that Leeds are going to drop points here and Southampton are going to drop points. You just have
You
to
expect them to win.
Yes.
You expect them to win, so therefore you've got to win.
But you can't say the number of points that will get you promotion.
Yeah.
If you started before the season and said, well, how many points will we need to get promotion? You
can
wouldn't
do
say,
anything with
you
stats,
would
can't
say,
you?
you wouldn't say
Well,
sort
it's-
of 95, 100 points, would you?
Well, it's interesting.
It's funny you should say that. I've got no, it's 88 points to finish second. Generally, is about the
88,
average.
okay.
88. So,
We'll get more than that.
well, other teams will get more than that, I think, as well.
So-
yeah.
so you
Same
can't-
running as you, it'll be 92. So 92 could finish nicely for us.
Someone
But we've
pointed-
only got 3 of the top 10 teams to play.
Yeah, someone pointed out that the total of points we've got already would have been enough to finish in the playoffs last season, with
That's what I
13
mean.
matches
It's
to go.
It's very difficult with number of points, is it?
Yeah.
Because every season's different.
Yeah, exactly. It's the context of that. One thing, in your, I think your team grew over time. There were certain signings I thought that made your team better. Not just signings, actually, players coming through from the youth team as well. I think Kieran, Richard Wright, Scoey, but also signings. Jim Magilton, I think he added something to your team significantly. I think David Johnson, when you signed him, there were key signings, weren't there, and key players coming into your squad.
Yeah, very, very key. But as a team, we had like the team we've got now, it's strong. You've got certain elements that's got to be right. You need some good defenders, good people on the ball. Our sort of governor in midfield, Jim Magilton. We've got Mosley at the moment, very similar. You know, inspires people. I mean, Jim made people play. Jim just. If you didn't pass the ball to Jim, Jim was right, yeah, which is great. You know, say made people. And you get Matty Holland, who was a worker, get up and down, was great, and you get Marcus coming in, David Johnson scoring goals. So it's a whole team in it. You know, so similar, but you don't win games or get promotion with bad players. You know, but it's putting them all together. But you need certain things like we want to pass the ball. So you need some people like Mosley's always on the ball. You know, if I was playing Ipswich, I'd say, go and mark him for a start. You know, stop him play, because he gets you playing. Then the rest start playing. Jim Magilton was the same, you know. And then you need a goal scorer. And it was good, you know, we lost to Preston. And I wasn't too disappointed, because I thought, we've done great in the window, because we've brought 2 centre forwards in. We've got another good midfield player. We've got a chance to finish in the top 2 now. Because if we hadn't done that, I would have said no. But now we have done it, I think that will give us a great chance to be first or second.
Yeah, I mean, last year was Hurst, wasn't it? And
It was a
then
great January window last year,
this
wasn't
year
it?
is Kiefer Moore.
Yeah.
So
Could Kiefer Moore be the similar signing to when you brought Marcus Stewart in?
Yes, I think score goals. And it gives you a physical presence, it gives you height, and you'll score goals. So anybody that does that, you win games. We won on Tuesday because we scored 4. So okay, we concede a few, but if you score more than the opposition, you've got a chance. So you need goals in your team, and that's what I'm saying. We've brought goals into the team, and that's very, very important.
It's interesting you said there that the first thing you'd do if you were a manager coming up against this current Ipswich team is to sit someone on Morsey. How else would you, if you were an opposition manager, how would you play against this current team then?
We're not going to broad that, Phil, surely.
I'm not giving secrets.
You're not
away,
gonna
but
Let's not broadcast that one.
Norwich will be listening to this, by the way.
So, automatic, you think, is still very much on?
Yes.
Yep.
I do. If I was looking at it closely, I would say 3 from 2. Leicester, Leeds, and myself. Even though I used to be manager of Southampton, believe it or not. I don't know. I always thought for the start of the season, 3 Premiership clubs, they've got a huge financial advantage. Will be very tough to break, and we're the only team in the Championship that can match them. So that's been fantastic because that 4's been, if you said before the start of the season we were in the top 4, great. We've virtually done that. So now can be first or second, So anybody's guess, but what I'm saying is we won't be far away for first or second.
You've got Southampton to play. They've got us to play, of course, away from home. Leicester away, Leeds away. So the three big games there. We've only got like Southampton. We've got that mob up the road away from home.
Well, that's 3 points.
That's 3 points, yeah. And Hull away. Hull are doing pretty well this year.
Yeah.
But I mean, generally, you sort of think there's a big game on Friday. Leeds play Leicester on Friday. So I just think it's falling into place. It just when things go against us, they come back well. They are very resilient. I just think it's falling into place to get that second spot. We've got history with League One getting the second spot. So we were chasing Plymouth, and Plymouth did extremely well to do what they did. And Leicester are miles away at the moment, but they're dropping points as well. So
we talked the other week, didn't we, about 9 games in a row, which started with the Millwall match against teams that were at the time when we went into the Millwall match, they were all in the bottom half of the table. I think Bristol City have done quite well since and have moved up, but we've won the first 3 of those matches. So that has changed the situation a bit, hasn't it, really?
One game at a time.
Yeah, well, that's true, but it's we're taking it one game at a time and we're winning those games, which is the important thing.
Well, I think it's going to be automatic. I've said that all season, and I still feel that. I feel things are just. I've never felt like this as a town fan.
But did you have some doubts a few games ago?
No.
Did you have some? Okay.
Yes. Might have done.
As I said, if we hadn't improved in the window, I would have doubts.
Yeah.
But now we have improved. We're right up in there fighting.
Everybody's going to have the little hiccup along the way. We've had ours. Southampton had a little one at the start of the season, didn't they?
But ours was the same time as last year, virtually, wasn't it?
Yeah, and again, like last year, we
Must
didn't
be
really
the winter
lose
blues.
many
Is it
games.
winter blues or something?
Yeah, well, it's difficult. We have to look at what it was. I mean, I think the fact we lost George Hurst was very significant, wasn't it? And the 2 games we drew 0-0 against QPR and Stoke were both games we should have won. But we had lost a number of players at that point to injury, and we lost Morsey, of course, around that time for the suspension as well. So I think there are key men. And perhaps
no excuses.
No, they're not excuses, but they're mitigating factors.
Everybody has injuries.
No, well, that's true, but I think in terms of the squad size, when you compare to the teams that we're competing against, which have got Premier League budgets and squads that were assembled for the Premier League.
Quality of squad you're talking
the
about.
quality of the squad,
Squad size.
Yeah, but the players that you can dip into are of a greater quality than perhaps the players we can dip into.
Yeah.
And so we can perhaps understand why we kind of had a little bit of a dip. But we only lost. What did we lose? We lost to Leeds and we lost to to Preston, and really, 4 games all season. That's extraordinary, isn't it?
Yeah, it is amazing. We've done incredibly well. Now, look, we've got our capacity crowd here. They've got their flags. There we are. One's going to sneak out early. He's early leaver. Bye-bye now.
You might miss 2 goals.
Bye-bye. See you, Melvin. He's got to go. He's got to catch the bus. Stephen's here from Wickham Market. He's got a little souvenir that he's dug out of your testimonial evening.
Oh, a big evening that was. 3-0 against Aberdeen.
Yeah.
Lovely to see you, George. I mean, we've had some fantastic times watching you over the years, boy. See you come into the side, see you progress, done extremely well. My son was a big fan, not only of you, but Terry and Russell, and he saved a lot of programmes. And do you know what? You talked about dieting earlier on, how important it is to players. And when I went through the programmes, and there were several of them, just about every home game, one of you 3 was man of the match. And the prize was a flash meal out at a popular restaurant. So I'm just wondering how, winning all those meals, you kept that weight off.
And I'll tell you what, if you got Player of the Month, you got a gallon of whiskey, so that was really good.
Well, that's right.
That motivated us more than anything else.
What did you get now? Tofu or something?
Yeah. European player man of the match was a better reward, wasn't it? Wasn't that at the toll booth?
Toll booth, yeah.
The other one would be the pier. If it's
The pier.
just
But of all the
fantastic
games, George, I saw you play, and I played an awful lot. I mean, I saw you when you got injured at Shrewsbury. That was nasty. But all the games you played, all the teams that you managed, who can ever forget, though, that playoff final at Wembley? And every time, I don't know about you guys here, every time you hear Terry Baxter go, Rooster! The hairs go up on the back of your neck, don't they? But going through all these programmes, I came across this. Hang on. And you'll remember this. The George Burley testimonial,
Yep.
1983.
Yep.
And an old farmer friend said to me, and I think you lived in the same village as him at one time,
Bredfield.
Alistair Anderson
Yeah.
at Bredfield. He said to me, boy, we've got to go and support old George, He said, let's get a table up. I said, well, it's a lot of money. He said, you can afford it. Come on. So, I had a whip round with my mates and we went. And it was a fantastic evening, George, wasn't it?
Yeah.
We had Stuart Gerald, didn't we? He compared the evening. We had a good comedian. We had dancing girls, didn't we? Do you remember?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, we had
Oh,
dancing girls.
Move on. Yeah.
And Bobby Robson got up, and I've told this story before, and you've probably heard it, Terry. But he got up and he said what a wonderful player George was. The night was about George. Why shouldn't he say that? And he said, I couldn't wait to get him into the side, he said. He said, and do you know what? He was a good-looking devil, he said. He said, because he was so good-looking, he said, all of a sudden, girls start taking notice, and before long, we had about 5,000 extra girls on the gate. He said, and then I made a stupid bloody mistake, he said. I put Eric Gates in and he took another 3,000 off. So, George,
Here's Eric Gates. Hey!
Thank you ever so much, boy. I've enjoyed everything you've done in your career, particularly Ipswich Town. When you came back as manager, there's nobody more delighted than me, but I think Colchester were a bit peed off, weren't they? Yeah. Thank you.
No, thank Will. I've got one of the programmes, George.
Yeah.
And on here, I'll hold it up. I don't know if the camera can pick it up totally or whatever, but there's a picture of you, George, being presented with your sponsored car. It's a Mazda, sponsored by Garnies and Hill. It's got George Burley on the side. What was it like, these sponsored cars? You all had them, didn't you?
I'd have preferred the testimonial. Did you get one? You did get one.
Did you not get a testimonial?
No.
No, we didn't.
We'll have a whip round
We
after.
didn't get one
Yeah,
between
that's
us.
all right,
like,
We're okay.
Yeah, I think most of the players had, sponsored cars, but that meant having your name and picture, whatever, right across the front. So,
Everyone knew where you were then?
yeah, you didn't go far out of Suffolk, as Terry said. Certainly didn't go to Norfolk for sure. But It was, the tax man get plenty of money off us for that.
Right.
But apart from
What
that,
ones did you have? Obviously, this Mazda. Did you have others?
yeah, just small ones. But it was a manager. I had a Mercedes. That was a bit better.
Oh, right,
And
okay.
I think Louise was working, Russell's wife, and
Lancaster
there
Garages,
at
yeah.
the time. So Lancasters did a lot of work.
Yeah, I know. I used to
for-
work there, and Russell used to have a red G-Wagon as a company, a sponsored vehicle,
Yeah.
and I used to service it. It was a pig to work on, but when it came, it's Russell Osman's car. And so we were desperate to go and
It was a bit
get
of a
on there.
giveaway with the
Yeah.
name right down the side.
Yeah. Did you have one, Butch?
Yes, I had a Renault, I don't know what model it was. I know the cars, but I had a Fiat Super Mirafiori.
Oh.
Yeah,
Did you manage to get into it?
I got into it all right. My dog got into it and chewed the seats up. So
The dog I gave you.
yeah, it wasn't that dog.
Was
no.
there a little bit of rivalry between the players as to who got the best car? I think Beattie used to tell the story that Mariner got a car that was destined for Beattie.
It was a Opel Manta or something like
Manta,
that,
yeah.
and that Mariner was that Beat was going to have it. He was all due to have it, and then they signed Paul Mariner, and suddenly Beat discovered that Mariner, the new signing, was having it instead of him as part of his signing on deal.
I think
He wouldn't give Beat a car. No.
I think that was the one when he turned it over, going out to Shortley before pre-season. And, you know,
Walkie in the car as well.
Dale Roberts was in it. Dale was in.
Not for long.
He
They weren't in it
twirled
for
it
long.
round a couple of times with Kevin.
Crawled out the back window, I think, upside down.
Happy days. Also in this programme, and I wonder if he's watching, because meet our mascot. Our mascot for today's game, when we only had one, now we have, I think, 12, sometimes 15, but they all enjoy it. They have a fantastic
love it,
Yeah,
time.
but they didn't have to pay £400
It's
for it.
quite expensive now, isn't it? Yeah. Our mascot for today's game against Nottingham Forest is 7-year-old Daniel Ward of Mortimer Place, Clare, near Sudbury, a pupil at Clare Primary School. So Daniel, if you're watching, it'd be lovely to hear from you. If you can remember being mascot, I'm flicking through it as well. Lovely picture of you all with your Pioneer stereo gear.
Yeah, good stuff.
Some good sounds come off of that one. Yeah.
Football isn't the only brilliant thing Ipswich play at home. And there's a picture of you holding up some speakers. And
Oh, very nice.
were they nice? Good systems.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Nice little
it's great.
sketch on
It
the
was
other
good.
side, on the other page.
Oh yeah, David Street illustrations. Very nice. It's 10 years since Russell Osman last played rugby, but he turned to the oval ball game for his hero, French skipper Jean-Pierre Rives. He of the flowing blonde locks is Russell's nomination, and the town defender admits, "I'd love to see him in action. My hero." Did you ever get to see your hero?
No.
Oh,
Put that way.
My other hero was Barry Sheen, but I did
and
get
you did get to meet him, didn't you?
Yeah, I got to see him.
I love the old programmes when you flick through them. They're just
How
great.
much do they cost?
Oh, you asked me this before and I couldn't find out where it was. Hang on. 40p.
40p. Was
Yeah.
the programme the
Bargain.
other night? Was it £3.50?
I don't know.
Who's the
£3.50?
sponsors on the back, Mark?
That's inflation
McNeil.
for you.
McNeil Sports.
Yeah.
Scotland's #1 quality Scotch whisky, Bell's.
Very good. Very
Match
good.
ball sponsored by Duffields of Felixstowe. That's a Volvo dealership. Other adverts in here. Canon for cameras, photocopiers, computers. Oh, blimey. What else have we got? Will Hire. Used to be a regular
Good old Will.
Yeah.
contributor. He was great. Good old Will. Oh, yes. And this was advertising Billy Graham coming to Portman Road. The evangelist, Billy Graham, worth listening to, at Portman Road, July 24th to 27th, 1984, admission free. Billy Graham's Mission England, and then he was at Carrow Road in Norwich.
I think I would rather listen to Ed Sheeran, by the
I
way.
think so. Tolly Cobbold, the Ipswich Glass Company, and I think it was Will who said man of the match was often you guys, and the man of the match in this one is Russell Osman.
Oh, there you go.
A return to his best form earned Russell Osman the man of the match against Luton Town a fortnight ago. It was a double celebration for the central defender since Town's 3-0 victory ended an 8-game sequence without a win. I shouldn't have read that bit out, perhaps, should I,
you
really?
shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
But
I'm
love,
a rough
I mean, they're
time.
great, aren't they? They're real archives. They really are fantastic. Do you keep many of these kind of things or not?
Well, when my dad was alive, I used to he'd every programme I had, and every sort of Monday morning, used to get the Greening paper. So you used to read that, and if that wasn't in the post, he'd be phoning me up Tuesday, says, "Have you sent me that Greening yet?" You know, because he wanted to know everything was happening with the club. You know, all the programmes and everything was going down. You know, with games and who was doing this and that. So he kept everyone in. He'd such a, he'd about 2,000 programmes, and I said to him, "What are you going to do with it, Dad?" "Don't know, nothing." So we ended up just throwing them away.
Oh,
But,
he was
yeah,
very
bless
proud,
him.
though, obviously.
Yeah, and
Very
he was
proud.
there for my, debut and everything.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Isn't
it
that-
was great.
Isn't there a story about Bobby Robson getting them down for your debut for the cup final or something?
No, when we made my debut at Old Trafford, I think Bobby said to me on the Thursday after training, "Bring your stuff up to travel on the Friday." I thought, well, because they had, I think. Colin Harper was injured and there was a few players out. So I said, okay. So I put my stuff there, and then he told me after training Friday I was going to play. So I told my mum and dad, So they say, right, we're coming, okay. So they had I don't know, a Hillman Minx car, and it took them about 8 hours from Cumnock in Ayrshire down. So outside the ground, we sort of stopped, and Bobby walked along, says, "Is your mum and dad here?" I said, "Aye, they're over there, Bobby." So he walks over there to them and said, "By the way, Mr. and Mrs. Burley, there's 2 director's box tickets to watch your son play." And that was just typical of Bobby. He was such a father figure, and he wanted to look after you for myself for 15 and Russell and Terry 16, 17. So he got them director's box there, watched the game. Fantastic. Played against Bestie. He only nutmegged me 3 times, so that was great. We lost the match, but I couldn't have been in a better place for my debut.
Fantastic.
That was it, George Best making your debut against him. Fantastic, wasn't it?
Oh, we've still got him in the pocket here, by the way. Well, in the pocket.
Colin Harper read the script early, didn't he? He got injured.
Yeah.
And I think there's a vote around the club.
Yeah.
Who else should we take up to Manchester that could deal with Bestie on his day?
But I mean, that was Sir Bobby. He thought, well, you're doing all right in the reserve, stick him in. And that was great. It's more and more difficult now.
Yeah, we all benefited from that.
And then we all played when we were younger, and you were regular from 17 and 18. Bobby didn't have a big squad, so you might not have had a great game, but it's like, go on, learn from your mistakes and play on. These days, the youngsters tend to not get the same opportunities, but that's the way football is.
But you gave players chances. Richard Wright was 17 in goal. Kieran was 17, wasn't he? Titus was 17.
Scoey,
yeah. A lot of young.
Kieran.
Yeah, I mean, actually, when you came to the club, there were players in the youth team, in the reserves, that probably already should have played. Adam Tanner and Tony Vaughan. I think you gave them their debuts very quickly, didn't you?
I was brought up giving youngsters a chance, and that, even when I went to Southampton, players there were fantastic.
Let me think. I was going to say Gareth Bale,
Theo Walcott, Adam Lallana, and all that. David Best, So there was a lot of players, but that was the way you're brought up. Give the youngsters a chance, but it's more and more difficult, And of course, youth teams were. Sir Bobby was a great thinker, so he thinks, right, how am I going to improve the club? Because he came from Fulham, and I remember one of the first games, I don't know if it was anywhere there, Portman Road, Man United were down there, and some supporters had flags up, Robson out. And that was, it was a difficult time, and that was a test of character. We're talking about character. They wanted him out, and the Coballs dragged him upstairs and said, "I'd like to apologise to the crowd. I'll give you another year in your contract, Bobby." That was the Coballs. It wouldn't happen these days.
Certainly doesn't happen at Sunderland, does it?
No, it doesn't.
No. But Richard Wright, right, come through, and you put him in the team, and he's in the final, the playoff final, and after 6 minutes, it's an own goal. He scores an own goal. Very, very unlucky with the own goal. Now, you're in the final of the playoff, worth a lot of money. It's the most prestigious game and all that sort of thing. But he picks himself up and then saves a penalty as well. So that shows you the determination and resilience of him. And I think when your goalkeeper does that, as a defender, you're like, wow, we've got like a Superman behind us here. He's really up for the game. That certainly helps. But how did you feel when that goal went in early? Because it was, he went behind in the semi-final and things like that.
Yeah, well, it happens. It happened Tuesday. It happens you go behind early, but you're talking about characters again. And I think with any sport, if you look at the top tennis players or golfers, it's that mentality. And when you're out in a football field and there's a capacity crowd and you make a bad pass, that gives you a bit of problem with your confidence. Your character's got to play through it. Like Mick Mills, Millsy was fantastic, that, but he wasn't that quick. He wasn't, a great long pass of the ball.
No, certainly wasn't a long passer of the ball.
But his mentality, he always come off the field thinking he was the best player in the park. He'd such a, not an arrogance, but he believed in himself, and he still does, and he was a leader, without having fantastic ability. So if you've got that mentality, it's so important, and the top players at tennis or golf got to have that. If I'm a golfer, Russell, top golfer, whatever, if that mentality's not right, it doesn't matter about your swing, it doesn't matter about that, you've got to have a belief in your ability.
Well, George, thank you for coming back. We've got lots still to do on the show, but George Burley for now, everybody. Well done, George. It is time for our Keepy Uppy Challenge, sponsored by our friends at Ginger Pickle. Now, George, your second time on the show, you didn't make the leaderboard before. You were carrying problems, weren't you? How are you feeling, George?
The old leg, the specialist says my knee's completely knackered.
Yep.
But that's not the problem.
Okay.
I've a problem with my leg, so I'm still not even on the tennis court yet. So,
Oh, really?
But I don't.
Shall we bring on a sub?
After 6 operations with the knee, I think I've got to look after.
Shall we bring on a sub for you?
Go on, get the sub out.
Well, there's quite a lot of people in the capacity crowd this evening who are now sort of looking at the ceiling and looking at their feet and thinking, he's not going to ask me, is he? But there is one member of our Life's a Pitch team who is responsible, along with his partner, for our lovely graphics every week. From Come Hither Design. He's going to step forward this evening. It's Dan, everybody! Come on, Dan.
Come on, Dan.
Oh, you want the ball? Where's the ball? Where's the ball?
You haven't found
There's
the ball yet. You might have
Does help
escaped.
if there is a ball.
Couldn't find the ball for a minute.
Dan's a man.
Dan's the man. He's got his trainers on, everybody. So you have to come forward, and you're going to have to come and count capacity crowd. So you know how it works. So Terry's got the stopwatch. You've got 60 seconds. Phil's going to bring you in with the whistle. The leaderboard is up there, the Keep You Uppy Challenge, which Dan actually manages for us every week. He wipes it off and he puts the names up. Yep. So where do you think you're going to end up, Dan? Top, bottom?
I'm going to beat 10 to get on the board.
You have. You've got to do better than 10 to knock me and Laurie Civil off. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mentality. 1, 2, 3.
Oh, well, that's pretty good. It's the same as Terry Butcher. Well done. Well done, Dan. Thank you very much. Thank you. No, that was great. What a sport. I'll be looking for other participants in the future if our guest can't make it. But that was, that's about the mentality of getting up there and doing it, isn't it? Stepping forward and
give it a go.
Giving it a go.
Giving it a go, a character.
Don't forget, if you're watching on YouTube, please like the channel. Subscribe, please, if you can. That makes all the difference to us. And don't forget to go to lifesapitch.tv, www.lifesapitch.tv for more information about the show and how to be part of the capacity crowd, which does include free beer, doesn't it? Yeah. Free food.
Mark, I have to say, David, Dave the sausage roll man, is back.
Yeah.
He was missing last week, and we knew he was missing last week, but he's back with a bang.
I think he's going to get a season ticket, actually.
Yeah, he's got to come in there.
Because they were absolutely incredible.
They still are, yep.
It's time for Town News in Brief, sponsored by John Keeble Cars of Bramford with Phil from twtd.co.uk.
Hey, me in a hat. So, further to last week's news regarding reports Blues boss Kieran McKenna had turned down an approach from Crystal Palace, the Eagles confirmed the appointment of former Eintracht Frankfurt manager Oliver Glasner on Monday on a deal which runs to the end of the 25-26 season. That would appear to end that area of concern for Town supporters for the moment, assuming Glasner doesn't have a disastrous time between now and the summer, although there are bound to be other Premier League clubs of a similar size eyeing McKenna. But I think positive news, because I think Palace had been one of the clubs that have been most interested in over the last year or so. Ipswich Town women will play their first ever game at Portman Road when they take on Chatham Town in the FAWNL Southern Premier Division on Saturday 23rd of March, the men's side's free weekend due to the international break. The Tractor Girls usually host opposition sides at Felixstowe and Walton's AGL Arena, but have played matches at other clubs' main stadia in the past, including Home Park Plymouth and the MK Dons Stadium MK, with the Portman Road match having been pencilled in for some point in this campaign since the summer.
And it's going to be, the full-on kind of experience for them. So, it'll be like a normal match day for fans going along.
All four
so the club are really pulling out the stops. I think it's fantastic.
Yes, it is. It's all four stands are open. It's not just kind of, you'd get in some of these grounds, just open one. And so manager Sheehan said, we're excited to be playing a league game at Portman Road for the first time. It promises to be a memorable occasion, one that we hope will be a catalyst for more positive change, inspiring and providing further opportunities for young players in the future. CEO Mark Ashton added, "We're delighted to confirm that our women's team will play a fixture at Portman Road. There has been a clear passion and interest in a game being held at the stadium, and it is fantastic that we now have one confirmed. We consistently see great attendances at Portman Road, and we urge all supporters to get behind Joe and the team for this game as well. This will be an historic day for the club, and we want a strong atmosphere for everyone to enjoy." So the Blues are currently 6th in FAWNL Southern Premier Division. Bit of a mouthful, isn't it? But having had matches against the MK Dons and #United postponed on Sunday and Wednesday this week due to the weather that we're all too conscious of. Promotion now looks unlikely, but they should beat Chatham. Chatham are 11th and second bottom, having taken 5 points from 16 games this season, so should see a town victory. Former town skipper and George's coach Tony Mowbray will miss out on a return to Portman Road on Saturday with Birmingham City, as he is set to spend around 6 to 8 weeks away from the club as he undergoes medical treatment. Mowbray, 60, took over as boss at St Andrews at the start of January following the departure of Wayne Rooney, with his fellow former town defender Mark Venus assisting him as he has at his previous clubs. Venus will take charge of the visitors on Saturday, and we'll wish Mogger well.
Yep, I think round of applause for Mogger. Wish him all the best. Yep.
And that he's back.
Great guy to have around, George, wasn't he? Tony, fantastic guy to have around.
Yeah, he's captain. Great character. Got him from Celtic. He was, he was...
Butch has just come over in a bit of having a funny turn.
The time he was going through a bad time because his first wife passed away. He came to Ipswich and grew with the club, grew with the people, was a fantastic player. I've been in contact with him in the last couple of days, and he's nice and positive. And I seen Vino at the game on Tuesday. Another big character, did very well for the club. But I'm sure we all wish Tony a speedy recovery.
Yeah,
Indeed, I think, and a number of fans suggested there should be a round of applause or his song or everyone claiming offside in the 5th minute to show their support to him. We've also had a message from our friend Duncan Foster, who asks if fans can applaud in the 58th minute on Saturday in tribute to town fan Liz Demant, who died after suffering a bleed on the brain last week, aged only 58.
Yeah, she was a proper blue. Yeah. Really was, and it's lovely. I mean, it was really special. I went to Irene Davies' funeral last week. Irene was the patron of the Ipswich Town branch of the Ipswich Town Supporters Club, and I've known her since I was 6. And it was a beautiful send-off for her. Everybody was in blue and white. The pallbearers wore blue. David Sheepshanks spoke very wonderfully about her to the people that were there. You'll never walk alone at the end, and then the chap doing the ceremony said, "I'm sorry, Irene, it's the final whistle now," and blew the whistle for its full time, and tears started rolling down. But I know some of you were there, weren't you? And it was a proper Ipswich Town send-off. It was a real family member that we lost, and on the 58th minute we should be doing the same on Saturday. And it just goes to show it still is a family club. It really is, isn't it?
Yeah, it always been, one club, one town, and the youngsters that came through, I think Alf Ramsey there, and then Sir Bobby brought the youth team through and into, of course, playing in Europe, and hopefully we're getting it back. And there's, the fans, in the last year or so have got bigger. We can't get enough tickets. When you're walking about the place, I'm walking the dog as I usually do. They all want to talk about, the football, what's going on tonight, what's happening, and it's great to see, because it is hard times, for a lot of people, especially with that weather we're getting. So they're all going down Portman Road, and it's the good.
Scott.
Well, that's normal for Ayrshire, So they're all enjoying the football, and it's nice. And we had a hard time there, but we're in the good times again. And hopefully we can keep it going.
Fingers crossed. Right, let's have a look at what happened to ITFC on this day in history. Brought to you in association with our friends at Fred Olsen Logistics.
Well, on this day in history for Ipswich Town, and this is all from Dan Botton's book, History, Facts and Figures from Every Day of the Year. And he's got another book coming out in August, Phil, hasn't he?
He has.
He has, good. So, opened the book up at random. It just happened to fall on the 22nd of February.
It's amazing, that really is.
What a coincidence that is. 1994. A snowy Portman Road witnessed an exciting Premier League clash as Sheffield United lost 3-2 thanks to a wonder goal from stylish winger Stuart Slater.
Yeah, these two.
And then on Saturday, the 22nd of February 1975, Alan Armstrong was born in Gateshead. The £500,000 signing's undoubted highlight at Portman Road was scoring in both legs of the UEFA Cup third-round ties against Inter Milan. And all that happened on the 22nd of February.
Fantastic, yeah. Who remembers Alan's goals? You certainly do, George, don't you? Yeah, they were
Inter
fantastic.
Milan,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we've had tonight 6-0 against Manchester United, a win. Inter Milan mentioned, you know, it's
Good time.
good times.
Good times.
One more thing to do, and that's the Man v Fat football results.
Here we go.
Another action-packed session at Portman Road on Friday evening saw the Man v Fat players lose another 10 kilograms, bringing the season's total to 158.1 kilograms. That's 25 stone in just 5 weeks. Can we please congratulate Danny Netzel on his 15% loss and Mark Ratcliffe on achieving his 5%. This week's results are as follows. To lose a few pounds, 7. LA Galaxy Bar, 13. Pork Vale, 6. Seattle Quarter Pounders, 10.
Good.
Man Titty, 8. Far From Athletics, 7. L'Argentina, 5. Dinamo Kebab, 11. Man v Fat team name of the week, Real So Bad. You'll love this next one. And Ham Saladice. If time, can you thank George for being such a wonderful servant to the club? That's from Man v Fat Mark. George, thanks very much for being a guest on the show. Lovely to see you. And give our guest a round of applause, everybody. And that's it for this week's show. Thank you very much to everybody who's been here, our capacity crowd. Thanks to our main sponsor, DPS Tech, also sponsored by All About Hearing, marketing company Ginger Pickle, Forward Floors, Come Hither Design, the Hudson Group, Sound 4 Pro Audio, Fred Olsen Logistics, John Keeble Cars in Bramford, the Dove in St Helens Street in Ipswich, and also Ashford Wright, plus our sponsors off the sofa, DPS Tech. Thank you, boys, very much. Thank you, capacity crowd, and we'll see you next week. Goodbye and up the town, everybody. Up the town.
Another town. Blue Army!